Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast of three brothers trying to figure it all out, with your hosts Brandon, Colin, and Aaron. On this week's show, ugh, Sansa.
Hello?
I'm going to say, I think it depends on what part of the industry they're in. So I don't think there are very many 22-year-old kennel owners out there. But there are probably more older people in the kennel, that kind of business. I don't know. I would maybe. Why do you ask?
Oh. I don't know. I've never owned a dog kennel.
Oh, sorry. Hi, Brandon.
Oh.
Hey, Megan was asking me some questions.
I was just like,
Sorry.
I think I'm on the wrong podcast. Hold on. I must stop.
This is the show. This is the show. Go with it. And what's your opinion on age demographics across the pet care industry?
Well, all of the people that we take our dog to are actually very young, right? So they not necessarily we don't kennel our dog because he is far too old to be going and staying in a kennel, right? But the people that cut his hair and all that stuff, they are very young. So I think it's coming down, right? It's kind of weird. It seems to be very broad because the other lady that we used to take him to is quite old, right? Not like very old. She's probably almost 60. So, it's a very wide age demographic.
Yes, very good, very insightful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Brandon says it's a wide demographic.
There you go.
He didn't really answer the question. Basically, I'm kidding.
All I can do is speak from my experience. I know where we take our dog.
Mm-hmm.
The vet is like around, I don't know, he's probably late 40s, early 50s. Maybe. I don't know. That's all I got.
Yeah, that was fine. No, it's I think when most people think of dog walker, they tend to think younger. But as I was saying, when I think more of a facility owner, if you own a dog kennel and a dog run and you do boarding like in a facility, I guess my brain just goes to probably the person's older, but that could be completely
Well, I
off.
think that's probably because you need capital for that. You need to have had like a lot of stuff to get it there.
Right. I think that's why I think that, but I don't know. I don't know if there's been any. I'm sure we could talk to some big pet corporations and they have all that data.
Well, yeah, but I'm just trying to think about places around here. The only boarding place I can think of, there's a vet office that does it. Like a vet / they have that service. But I don't know anything about them because that's not the vet that we take Chuck to. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
all the tech people at the vet place are very young.
Yeah. The vets here, they're in mid-40s, 50s, I think.
Yeah, that's about what his vet is, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not real sure. I know his. But, yes. Interesting.
Okay. Well, Aaron appears to be on his way.
Yeah, I just read his text too.
Okay, cool.
Loading up. So, stall for time. Let's cut this part out.
Yeah. No, that was all. I'm going to cut that and paste it in our upcoming kitchen confessional corner. That's where that goes.
All right. Sweet.
It's all gold. Oh man, it's been a week.
Yes, apparently. It's been very hard to tell what day is what now. I'm in that part of my life where I'm like, what? I don't know where I am. What time is it? Where am I? What's happening?
Yeah, and I don't know. Like, still, it's Megan and I continue to talk about this. Just how weird it is of how unchanged, relatively, our life here in our house is at the moment.
Well, yeah, I mean that's
with me. I'm still going to work every day. It's closed to the public, but I'm still going.
Yeah,
and we still have a client that's dropping off dogs a couple times a week, and kids can't.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Of course, she's the CEO of the regional hospital here, and her husband is a mucky muck at one of the banks. So they're
good
both
gravy.
Essential.
Yeah. Well, Susan is essential as well. Since I think we talked about this before, but she works in the central office.
Yeah.
He's one of the people that has to go since the
work day.
Hello. Welcome.
Got it.
Nailed it.
Good morning. Morning.
It's definitely not morning, listeners. Don't let him fool you.
Could be.
We don't record in the morning. You crazy?
Not a thing. Aaron.
Yes, hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I got set up here. My computer was just being like, "Oh, you want to open this? That's cute."
That's why I always try to open it as soon as he sends it, or 20 minutes before to make sure it can
Yeah, I had this opened like an hour ago. Just sitting here waiting, and I finally got things loaded, and I was like, "Oh, sweet!" And I started clicking on stuff, and a little Windows tab opened up, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do this?" Like, no, I don't want to do that.
That's why I knew something was wrong a couple weeks ago when I tried to open it, and it was like, nah, nope. And then my internet was like, and die. Whoa, no, come back. Ah.
I don't want an internet today.
But I want it. Stop it.
Oh, yeah, that whole conversation of what on earth this would be and feel like if this was 30 years ago.
Oh.
On a global scale.
Oh, dear. Yeah, well.
For those of you listening, we are still in the pandemic of COVID-19.
It was April was the 4th to date this. So again, future listeners, this is our audio log for
whenever someone's scouring the wastelands.
Yeah, where you find this, you put this in your Pip-Boy
and listen to it. Like, oh, what was life like before the bomb?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, there's a quest that comes out of this? Heck yeah.
Yeah, you might get a side quest, so keep listening.
You're welcome.
Keep looking for the end of the show.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, that's what we were just talking about right before you showed up, because old Mikey Parsons decided to get on the bandwagon and issue a stay-at-home order. Again, interestingly timed, because I have already been staying at home for several weeks because the county told me to. And most of the restaurants here have been doing that for several weeks because the city told them to. And so
we weren't, I mean, I think I'm going to go off screen here. Megan, when did the county come out with a stay-at-home thing, or did they ever? Oh yeah, so the city came out with what's called a civil emergency, which is very confusing, was very poorly written, and at one point said that they were going to increase the air makeup in buildings.
What does that mean?
That's not.
They're going to change the composition of air.
Are they going to open a window?
That's what I think they're going to do. I think they're going to just open windows in all of the public buildings.
There we go. Walmart doesn't have windows, right? It's
Well, yeah, I know. So anyway,
so I was
it's been weird here.
Yeah, it's been that way too. Like our city's been doing that stuff, and then now we've got to figure out how that meshes with what the governor finally decided to do after the county has been doing it for several weeks, right? So that not a lot is changing. Some of the stores are just being more strict about because it's a lot of the stuff that he wrote into the thing has to do with building occupancy, like percentage of occupancy for those essential businesses like Walmart and whatever.
Yep.
So you can't they can only have an X number of people physically in the store.
Yeah.
So
so Walmart.
I look for them to be like, yo, this whole section of parking lot is now officially curbside pickup.
Mm-hmm. Oh, right? They're gonna have to.
As Ramey's started doing it this week. Never done it before. They're like, hey, we're doing it now. By the way, so we tried that one too. Got some because we've been also doing the shopping for Susan's mom because she's she's elderly, and so we've been doing that shopping for her, getting her groceries and everything. She doesn't like it. She's like, I just want to go to the store. Like, no. 80 years old. You ain't going nowhere. Sit down. You are not.
Yeah.
So we'll be getting her groceries and
Walmart here was queuing people back and only letting in one a couple people at a time as people would walk out. And
that's what this one's starting to do because of the governor's order thing, right? So beforehand, it was still like, oh, we're opening more lanes. They had already done the one-way foot traffic thing and all that to try to make people make sure that they're spread apart and everything.
Abide.
Yeah. They put tape arrows on the floor, this is a one-way aisle. So you have to snake around through so you're not crossing and bumping into people and everything.
I always thought it should have been like that in the first place, but
I mean, it should be, because what shouldn't happen basically is somebody comes and they stop their huge cart just right exactly in the middle of the aisle and leave it there, because that's what happens at this one all the time anyway.
I feel personally attacked right now.
You should be, if that's you. Because when I go shopping, now this is again, when I used to go shopping under normal circumstances, right? I'm all about
olden times.
In the olden days. Back in 2019 when I could go to the store.
Yeah.
It was all about speed, right? I'm going fast. Gotta go fast. So I'm not taking a cart if I can help it, right? I might get a basket. That's all I want, though. I don't want encumbrance.
I will say that the one part about it that is a little frustrating, I can understand this, but they're limiting, several of the stores here in town have said no kids allowed. So
well, yeah. I mean, that does make sense if you have to limit bodies in the store.
Yeah, I can. Yeah. However, single moms, single parents, what do you do with kids? You can't drop them off anywhere because you're not allowed.
They're all closed. Yeah,
they're all closed, and you're not supposed to drop them off at someone else's house or something. So
yeah,
I feel like that is, while well intentioned, puts some people in a very
in a hard spot, right?
Yes. It's like, what do you do? How do you do that?
But yeah,
I get it. I just think of whatever.
Well, and that's the hard part about the fact that the county and the city have been doing this for weeks now, and then the governor's like, oh yeah, because now that means people that have not been working for 3 weeks can't work for another 3 weeks. Right. And so that really puts them on the back foot of, oh, okay, what do I do with my kids? What do I do this? Blah, blah, blah. So.
Yeah. And can we just say that his end date is completely insane? The 24th.
It's a weird date.
When the when the national peak is supposed to be in May.
Well, I think it was just trying to.
I think he's kicking the can down the road on that decision.
He is.
Because if he came out, like Virginia, whatever, came out and was like June 10th. You guys say home. Like, that's probably not the best decision either. So I can understand. It's very weird. Like, ends on a Friday. I don't. Whatever.
Well, that is that. Yeah, the ending on a Friday is weird. But again, that is kind of that. We'll push this date down, see what happens with the numbers. I mean, it's really kind of all you can do because you can't put like. I mean, realistically, this is an extremely long, extended situation, right? I realistically, you can't just be like August. Like, that's not helpful to anybody, right? So you've got to kind of figure out, like, especially, so just take Missouri as an example. You lock the state down, and then after that, you say, okay, well, Dallas County, you're good, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can release some stuff there. We can release, like, random counties, and other counties have to be watchful. Like hub counties, like Greene County, might have to be longer, but is where another one, like, I don't know, Taney County or whatever, can kind of open back up. But it is weird. We talked before about just how much people move about, even like a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even to my town, not that big, something like 12,000 people live here, right? Susan was telling me the other day she was reading that something like 4,000 people come here every day, just from neighboring communities to either work or shop or do stuff or whatever. 4,000 people come here just like in the course of a day.
Sure.
Like, it's not even that big a town. So it's like, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, 12 to whatever, those are old census numbers. So 12, somewhere between 12 and 15,000 people, we can roughly estimate, because it has grown. But 4,000 people a day come from the surrounding area into this place, swelling the population during the daytime. So, like, because it is very rural surrounding area, right? There's a lot of manufacturing jobs here, like a lot, right? Lots of industry, and they're closing down. They don't know what to do with all their stuff. Schreiber is like donating food left and right because they have no one to sell it to.
Jeez.
Right? They're like huge dairy processing, cheese manufacturer industry, and they can't get rid of their stuff. Right?
Wow.
They're donating it all over the place. They donate it to local restaurants. They're giving it to schools. They're just like, yo, we've got all this inventory, and it's going to go bad because no one's ordering it, and we got to get rid of it. So,
right.
There's been some weird consequences of this.
Yeah. Well, you're talking about just how much people are out and moving around. It's mind-boggling when you think about just the number of people. I mean, today, I went out to get lunch, went through drive-through from a local place, and just like it was bumper to bumper the entire way there. And I was like,
our traffic has definitely dropped off.
No, our traffic has not. Granted, we're at the big intersection of two pretty major highways, and it's just, I was just blown away by the number of people out and about today. It was insane.
Yeah, it's weird.
Not counting judgment or or anything on those people, because obviously I was driving around. I was just shocked by the number of people. Right? Just whatever.
I mean, yeah, because again, governor's order doesn't go into effect till Monday, so we'll see what that looks like then.
Yeah,
but again, people still gotta do stuff, right? Like we talked about, Susan is still essential. She still gotta go to work, So
well, yeah, and
I was at work on Thursday. Like we came in, because we came in and we did a bunch of they let last week the school let they were like, okay, these people can come in on Monday, these people can come in on Tuesday, right? They had like a rotating schedule thing going on.
Sure. Yeah.
And we were supposed to come up with work packets and things to send home for all the kids that don't have internet, right?
Mhm.
And kind of disperse them out starting this coming week. So we had to go in and get all that printed off and packaged up and all that stuff. So we were in there.
Sure.
It was weird, but like,
Yeah, we've been breaking it down not by essential positions, but essential duties to keep things running. And so in that way, because it was crazy. They do daily phone calls, all the big muggy mucks of the department, and they had a phone call at 3:00 on Friday, and of course the governor's announcement came out at 5.
5, yeah,
and which was I was like, oh, this is great.
It was great timing, Mikey.
So at 5, I texted my supervisor and I was like, so did you guys talk about this on the phone call? And she was like, no, we didn't think he was going to be doing that.
He didn't think he was going to be doing that.
I know.
Except for that map that they showed on KY3 on Wednesday. It was like all the states that have not issued an order, and it was like 4, and one of them was Missouri. Like,
the states that had
it's
not
gonna happen.
issued, of the states who had not issued one, we had the highest number of cases.
Yes, because one of them was like South Dakota. No offense, like South Dakota. I like South Dakota. I love the Corn Palace. It's very exciting.
Everyone loves the Corn Palace.
Everyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, please Google the Corn Palace. You'll thank me later.
You will.
But right, I mean, population density of like 4
per 100
makes sense. I mean, it makes sense for them to not have done it yet, right?
Absolutely.
But when you have 2 major hubs, like population hubs in your state, that their cases are rising exponentially, kind of got to do something, right? St. Louis and Kansas City, like theirs like blew up pretty good, and Greene County's has been steadily pretty going too.
Climbing
so
too.
Because Springfield's the 3rd largest city, so kind of got to do something about that.
Yeah.
Again, I get why South Dakota hasn't. That makes sense to me, but yes, Missouri's got to do something because that's just ridiculous.
See, I don't know. Like, so I texted her that, and she was like, don't know. Guess we'll have to wait and find out. I was like, oh, good.
Oh, cool.
Good. Awesome. There's no plan.
My favorite answer during this time of crisis has been well, we'll see. Like, what? But, wait, what are you doing? Stop it. Like all this weird stuff they keep talking about. They're like, yep, it could get bad. Like, are we doing anything about it? No.
Why would you?
But like, well, that's not helpful. I mean,
we all get to be pirates now, so that's pretty amazing. Pirates and ninjas with our face masks and bandanas.
I mean,
so we can be all sorts of stuff.
I mean,
very excited about this.
That's another weird situation, right? Like, as far as I can understand, the only reason that they were not telling people to wear face masks is because we physically don't have face masks.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yes,
that's a great position to be in. Like, hey, should you wear it? Like all the big people yelling and shouting at each other on the news, whether or not it's relevant or a good idea, it basically boils down to a supply. We don't have any.
Right.
And if you tell people to wear them, you are now decreasing the supply for medical professionals even more.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, right? They need them, obviously, right? First. But, like, even the people like, well, could we wear cloth face masks? They're like, well, yes. Why would you? Yeah,
put
go for
something.
It. Do it anyway. Like, just like, what do you, like, better than nothing, I guess, right? Like, so, yeah. It's just very, very awful that the fact that they're like, for some reason, we're like, oh yeah, we actually don't have any medical equipment. Whoopsie daisy. Wait a minute.
And it's
What?
just years and years of neglect. They were going back through and the reports back in 2009, 2010, 2012, 2016, saying we need to do something about these. We need to bump up the stocks. We need to replace some of this stuff. And just consistently they weren't. No attention for the past 20 years was paid to this.
Well, yeah, I think Bill Gates gave a TED talk about this like 4 or 5 years ago. Basically this exact situation. He just sort of outlined all the stuff that would happen if we weren't ready.
Mm-hmm.
Whoopsie.
Yeah. It's
Sorry,
not
Bill.
as though people didn't see this coming. It's just,
those, we'll deal with it later.
Yeah, we'll do.
And
it was
do
just
all this other stuff.
Everybody said we'll deal with it later, and here we are.
Yes, here we are later,
and
dealing with it again. I think we've mentioned this before too, but also it's a symptom of the on-demand culture that we have found ourselves in, where hospitals don't hold stock of these things.
Yeah,
right. They just click it. Oh, it's coming from India in 2 days.
Yep.
Except for now, when you can't have those supply lines out because planes aren't going. Right. These things are out.
Anywhere.
Yeah, your supply lines are down.
Yeah.
Then.
Yeah, it is
problem.
Right. The shortness of the supply lines is both good and bad.
Yeah.
In that but it has led to this mentality of, well, I don't want to keep a whole lot on stock because I don't want to have to manage that.
Because I don't want to pay to store it.
Oh yeah.
Let's not dance around the issue. It's that I don't want to pay the overhead to have it on hand.
Right.
That's all it comes down to.
Yeah.
That's what it always comes down to. Right.
Yeah.
It's that.
Yeah. And I feel so bad for countries in Central and South America and in Africa who are even in a worse spot than where we are. Reading reports coming out of Ecuador where here's where they are. You know how the United States was like, man, is $2.2 trillion enough? Their government was like, okay, we'll pass a $25 million bill, and most of that is going to go to buy refrigerated storage units that we place outside hospitals for you to place your body.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where they are. That's where they are.
And that's really that's for Quito, right? The size of that city is unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just
that's not that was their stimulus package. It was not, this is for more ventilators. It was we bought refrigerated metal cargo containers, and we're going to place them on the outside of hospitals so that whenever the person dies in your house, you can just bring them and throw them in there, and we'll be okay. And it was like,
yeesh.
What?
Yeah, I haven't read that. That's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
But you worry about Central Africa, right?
Right. The people who are going, hey, people in Central Africa, remember how when Ebola broke out and the United States and Europe and China came to our aid? They're not going to do that because they can't.
Yeah.
Nobody is coming to anybody's aid right now. It just can't, because rightfully so. Everyone's so focused internally that there's nothing to be spread around.
Yeah, which is bizarre. Because that's just so sort of backwards of how it has been functioning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, hey, we have surplus. We said this here, blah, blah. That's the global economy functions that way. Except for now, it's all just blah, shut. Blah.
Right. Well, and the long-term implications that has as people who were champion globalization and more interconnectedness start going, ooh, maybe we don't do that. I mean, China is already to the place where they've regressed probably about 40 years, 60 years in their initiatives to how open they are to allowing imports or exporting stuff. and trying to. I mean, they are still have closed off their borders to travelers and are turning back into the kind of secluded country that they once were to stop the spread, right?
Yeah, but I don't think that will. The political ambitions of China far outweigh that mild inconvenience that I
Maybe
don't
not.
think in the long term
Sure.
it will really matter that much for them, right?
For them. But I think every nation is now starting to look and go, okay, what manufacturing did we have overseas? Okay, how can we bring that back in? And how can just as a contingency plan? Because this is really showing those weaknesses.
Yeah. I don't know. Because again, we're not clamoring for t-shirts.
No,
right?
that's
Like,
what I'm
it's
saying.
like
Bringing back key stuff, like aspirin.
Well, the problem is,
medicines.
Yeah, that's fair. That's all well and good, except for now, because of the broken way that the United States economic system works. If you bring back aspirin production and put it in, I don't know, New Mexico, wherever, your bottle of aspirin now costs you $27. Right? Instead of $4.
No, we're going to nationalize. We're going to
No,
nationalize.
you
It's fine.
won't.
No, yeah.
You
The U.S., the government will take care of producing that, and they'll tell them what their
In
costs can be, and it'll be fine.
In an ideal situation, yes, that could be fine.
Well, there is an emergency thing that the president can enact that causes companies and corporations to make essential items.
Yes, he's refusing to do it.
Yeah.
No,
except for no, he only enacted it for GM for some reason. He's like, you do this now. Like,
no, he did it for 3M to make the masks, and he said make everything and keep it in. He told them what to do, and then they were like, we're not going to do that.
Yeah, but he didn't do it for weeks though.
Yeah, well, and also he didn't sign the order. He hasn't signed the executive order, the basically the Wartime Production Act thing, right?
No, I'm pretty sure he has. He just hasn't done anything with it.
Yeah, maybe he did, because I did read about something that he could do. But I mean, yeah, because I know that he was like, "Yo, GM, make these ventilators," and they're like, we don't have stuff to do that. Like, why would you? What? So they had to spend. They spent a lot of time. I think they are, but they had to spend a lot of time figuring out how to tool up their stuff to do.
Yeah, they were working with the actual manufacturer of one of the ventilators to retool.
But that, again, he wasted time, and then they had to do 2 weeks probably of okay, how do we do that? And then the 3M thing, but 3M already makes those masks.
Mm-hmm.
Right. He basically just said, you can't export those. And they're like, but why? That's our job. They bought them from us, so we're going to export them.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no. Because, 3M already makes that stuff. They already make a lot. I think he told them to make more of them.
Yes.
Like Aaron said. I think
he
just make more. But it's very weird. And just very sort of haphazard, and sort of oh, do this. Oh, maybe that. Oh, maybe this. You're what are you doing? Zero direction on the earth. Very odd indeed.
Anything fun going on? What are you guys doing for fun? Aaron,
tell us more. Yeah,
Brandon,
Aaron,
tell us more.
Me?
Somebody. Fun. And go. Be funny.
Aaron, how have you spent this week at home?
Yeah.
I've been mostly just doing typing. I had a few investigations I went on. Got a chance to go to some parks here in Bartlesville, Shelby. Went to go adventure, do some walking. That's really about it. There's not a whole lot to do. Everything's closed down. But I had a doozy of a case that spent all day on and all day Friday. So I essentially still have to go to the office every once in a while to email things or fax things to people. That's as Brandon can attest. I bought a book, and so I've been watching up on a lot of Netflix shows, Hulu shows. We're doing a Star Wars marathon right now.
Oh, there we go.
We're on the Phantom Menace, which when I was younger, I was like, oh man, this is so cool. But now I'm just like, I get why people hate it. That's why.
Yeah, I like that one better than the second one.
Yeah.
Right? What's the second one?
The Clone
second
Wars.
one, the Clone War, the Attack of the Clones or whatever? No,
Yeah.
No,
that's the second one.
Is that the second one?
Yeah.
I like it better than that one.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that one really at
but you're
all.
comparing them to that trilogy, not to like everything else, right?
I mean,
well,
out of the prequel trilogy, I think I haven't seen them in a while, but I think Phantom Menace is definitely better. I definitely did not like Attack of the Clones. And then
I like that one.
Is it the Revenge of the Sith? Is that the third one?
Yes.
I definitely don't like that one. That was just like kind of boring.
So I remember, when this one, the Phantom Menace, came out, all the hype that came with it. I remember Mimi taking us to go see it. Mm-hmm. And the other one, but I remember going like to midnight to, I think it was the Springfield 8 with one of my friends and his dad, and we got to sit in line when the third one came out. And so, like, definitely when I was younger, but now I'm just like, I get it why people kind of,
Now I get it.
Hated on it, but I enjoyed it.
Is very young Anakin a good actor? No. Was he directed well? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Right. You can't really put that on a small child.
Yeah.
I think the first one, really the only reason I think I like it the most is because I don't care what anybody says, the pod racing thing is cool. Okay. Pod racing is cool. Like, it's really ridiculous and just like random in that movie, but it looks cool, right? It's like the only time that you see anything in the universe that's like fun.
Sure. So, everything else is just so dark and depressing.
What do people do for like recreation until the last trilogy when they were on that weird gambling planet and there was the weird like the horse race thing?
Yeah.
Like,
but now that I like understand a lot of the lore and canon and legends, and with like now, like watching these movies now is a little bit more enjoyable now that I kind of understand the whole picture. Because when I was like 9 with this first one, I was like, oh man, Senate briefings and trade deals. No way.
Yeah, but that's real. That's a lot of people were like, oh, that's dumb. Why would they put that? Like, that's exactly how someone would take over a Senate. Right? That's exactly how it would happen. Right? That's exactly how like Julius Caesar became the ruler of Rome through emergency power placement. And then he like basically got rid of the other two people. Right? He's like, no, I need the emergency power. And then he didn't give it back. That's exactly what happens in this movie. So it makes sense, right?
Yeah, but when I was younger, I didn't understand that. But now that I understand more about it, I'm like, oh, this is actually that's kind of a neat way.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? I was a little older, but when it came out, but it was still kind of cool. The second part, the end of that movie, just forget about it. That's the best. The whole duel with the Darth Maul, that's the greatest.
That makes it worth it entirely.
The end of the movie makes up for a lot of the other weird stuff. A lot of the weird like gun stuff and like the battle droid weirdness. Like, nah, Darth Maul, done.
Yeah,
that whole Tony Park in that duel. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Plus that Duel of the Fates song. Just get.
Now, no. I will go ahead and say with John Williams doing the music, whenever you watch like this movie and then you think about Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, the music is the exact same.
I haven't seen Indiana Jones in a long time.
Well, if you do, make sure you pause it and jump over to Phantom Menace real quick, because John Williams' music is in.
I mean, John Williams' music is very recognizable.
Yes,
right.
but
he's like, oh, hey, that's John Williams.
Like the music when in the third one when Indiana is in Germany, and then there's that music, the marching music, and then there's the music where on the motorcycle, and then you jump to this, and they're walking around Naboo, and I'm like, is that Indiana Jones? That's Indiana Jones.
What you should. This is not a hot take. I'm definitely not the first person to say this. Have you ever listened to Gustav Holst's The Planets Orchestra?
I'm pulling it up on YouTube right now.
It's very long. There's several movements. 7 movements.
Oh, jeepers!
How many planets?
Well, it's not all of them because it doesn't have Earth. It doesn't have Pluto.
Right.
So
what is it called?
Written Gustav Holst.
The Planets by Gustav Holst.
The planets.
Because there's a Mars. Mars is very good. Jupiter.
Oh.
Yeah. Right. See, it's very
49
long.
minutes.
Yeah. Again, it's a big. You have to listen to it in parts, but there's little sections. So like section 1 is like Mars, the bringer of war. It's based off the astrological symbols, not necessarily the thing. But there should be 7 movements because Earth isn't one, because Earth is not represented in astrology, and Pluto isn't because it was written before that.
Before they knew that.
So I think there's 7. Anyway, listen to those movements, and you will go, what? Hello, Star Wars. How are you? Right? Because you can definitely tell that Steven Spielberg listened to that and was like, John, make this. Because that's basically what happened, right? They did that, right? Lucas was like, do this. Or George Lucas was like, this. Make this. Can I just use this music? John, make me this. And so, like, especially the Mars movement, you'll go, hello, Darth Vader. Hello, Empire. How are you? There's a couple parts in there that are like, whoa, like little tags or something that are definitely like, oh my gosh. Or in like some of the other ones, like the Jupiter, it's like it's like a jovial bringer of laughter or something. And it's like, oh, hello, Tatooine. How are you? This is very interesting. So you should give that a listen sometime.
I'll save it on my phone.
Yeah. Listen to that because it definitely harkens to some of that. You just go, whoa, what is this?
But yeah, I mean, other than that, it's been we rewatched the Tiger King series because why not? And then I finished the other show called The Kingdom.
Oh, right,
which is dope. But I mean, that's kind of been the only thing that's keeping our minds off the issue.
Yes.
I mean, yeah, that's really about it for me.
Brandon, you were supposed to give us an update. Someone was supposed to give us an update on Carnival Row.
Oh, yeah, that was me. I definitely only watched one more episode of that because I had to go to work on Thursday and I was reading a bunch this week. So it's still pretty good, though. It's getting more interesting, right? There's been some developments that you're like, oh, I can't. My attention span is such that I cannot sit down and watch multiple episodes back to back. Right.
So you're not a binger.
I can't do that. It's not that it isn't good, nor is it not that it's like binge worthy. It's that my attention span physically cannot handle that. Right? I'm incapable of doing it. If I'm devoting all of my attention to watching a show, like I can't. Right. So, like, because a lot of other things I watch, I do them in the background. I have them on for noise while I'm like cleaning stuff or like playing a video game or something. I'll watch stuff on YouTube or whatever, but I'm not like watching it. Right. If I'm like watching it, I can only watch an episode at a time. Like I usually have to, like when I was watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which you should definitely watch. That show is hilarious on Amazon.
Yeah.
That show's good. I think I talked about that before too. If for nothing else other than the set design and like the art design. Oh my, and the costuming, it's so good. But like, I would watch an episode. I'd have to do something else, and then come back in a couple hours and watch another one. Just because I can't like sit down and watch back to back to back to back to back because I can't. I just can't do that. My brain is like, nope, I gotta do something else now. Let's go. I'm out. But it's getting good. Definitely some development. There was one episode where they like did like a back in time thing. You're like, oh man, I don't want a backstory, blah blah. And then sort of at the end, I was like, oh, okay, I see. I got why you gave me this. All right, fine. I understand. This makes a lot more sense now. I get it. So it gives you the backstory of how the two characters met initially in the fairyland place, right? And why it was a big deal and all that stuff. So it's good.
Yeah.
I like it. I might watch another one tomorrow. But I have been reading also. I've been reading
your book review corner.
Book review corner. So first of all, a little heavy reading, if you will. I've been reading the Oxford History of Ancient Egypt.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my.
So it's a very dense, extraordinarily academic tome about the complete history of Egypt.
Oh, that sounds actually really cool though.
But... Oh, it is really cool, but oh my gosh.
That's kind of one of the books that I got. It talks about the three. It has Edward, Kaiser Wilhelm, and Tsar Nicholas.
Yeah.
And that book is like, it's a slog. Because I was like, oh man, this is really cool. And then I'm like, and boy.
Yeah, weirdly, that's exactly like the book that I have, but it's different and by a different person.
Yeah.
It's very confusing.
Anyway. The book that I got today that I actually started reading, it's called The Everlasting Flower, and it's the history of Korea.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of an enjoyable read. It's actually like not like you're trying to walk through mud. It's like, oh,
this one can be a little muddy.
Yeah.
This one is a little muddy. This one, every once in a while, talks about references like archaeological dig layers. And in the beginning, they talk a lot about pottery. Right? Lots of pottery discussion. Because as we know,
important.
As we know, pottery is very important in dating how cultures moved in prehistoric times. Right? So when we're talking about the Nakata period, pre-Old Kingdom, we've got to deal with pottery, which is difficult. I did just finish the section on the Amarna period and the late New Kingdom. It's very interesting, right? That part is the good part, right? I'm getting ready for Egypt in the outside world, and then the third intermediate period. So we're getting close to the end here. But the Amarna period, and if you don't know, the Amarna period is when basically Amenhotep, what was his name? He changed his name to Akhenaten and sort of upended the whole religious structure of Egypt.
For clarity, this isn't the one Brandon Fraser fought, right?
No.
Because his name was Imhotep.
His name was Imhotep, but he's based off of the guy that built the first step pyramid from Djoser.
Ah, dope. Okay.
Right. But this is Amenhotep the Fourth. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
He basically decided, and this book, because it's very academic, gives some backstory about how this occurred. It's a little less out of nowhere than general media would have you believe. But basically, he was like, "Yo, you know all these Egyptian gods we have? Nah, sun disk, bro. We are now worshiping the sun disk." And he changed his name, and he moved the capital away from Memphis into a brand new city they built in the middle of the desert. And basically stopped worshiping all gods except for the sun disk. And he became the idol to worship instead of previously every town, every major city in Egypt sort of had their own god, right? So like even though there were lots of different ones, like if you were from Abdios, right, that was sort of like Osiris's hangout, right? If you were at Memphis, was like Ta's place to hang out, right? So they all had these like cult centers, and he was basically like, nah, nope, just kidding. It's only me now. Bye. And so he sort of upended the whole thing based on, he sort of took what was sort of happening already to like an extreme, right? And like cut out everything. And then the ramifications after that, because this was King Tut's father, most likely. And after Tut came to power, reverted everything back. And then just sort of the fallout from that for the nation through the rest of the new kingdom was very, very interesting. So to see how that transpired and eventually led to the decentralization of power from the religious center away from the pharaoh and into the hands of the priests, which sort of led to that schism, right, between the two power centers, because the pharaoh was no longer like the representation of the god Horus. He was just sort of like just another dude that prayed to Horus instead. So it was really weird. Like the deification, I guess, if you want to say, of the pharaoh is very weird. So I've been reading that. Again, it's a very heavy tome, but
the thing with this book is I was focused on like European history for so long. I could pretty much like cover like a map in my head. But since this is kind of like a new field for me, thankfully this book has a map at the front, and they talk about like, oh, these people moved over this river, and I'm like, oh, F, where's that at? I have to keep.
I have to do that sometimes
flipping
too.
back and
Like,
forth, and I keep looking at my map. Like
I usually bring up a map on like my phone or something and figure out what are they talking about.
I'm also having problems pronouncing names. It's really hard.
Well, same, because Egypt is like, why are there so many consonants in here? What's happening? Why do you say this super long word? It's 17 E's in it. I don't really.
My two books that I am working through are Channelized Rivers, Perspectives for Environmental Management, and Geomorphology and River Management.
Yeah.
Ooh, that doesn't sound like light reading either.
It's not fun. It's fine. It's good.
Although I am reading a book for fun. Hold on, let me find it. Okay, hold on. All right. I have another one. I have been reading a little bit. I've gotten far enough in that I realize I kind of like it. Though basically right when I was told that I wasn't going to go back to work anymore, I was like, well, I better get a book. So I bought something on Amazon before Amazon basically shut down to all non-essential supplies. So not ordering things on Amazon currently, but
sure.
I bought, this is called The Priory of the Orange Tree.
Oh.
So this is like a fantasy monster, right? This is like an 800-page behemoth of like a fantasy book. And it's pretty cool, right? It's by, if you're going to look this up, listeners, it's by Samantha Shannon. Okay. And basically it's very like, it's so far, it's starting out with the very well-trodden fantasy trope of, oh no, the dragons are returning. Right?
Let's be honest, that never gets old. Okay?
I mean, that's true. There's a reason why it's good. Why it's good.
Mm-hmm.
And we put it in there. But it's definitely the dragons are returning. And there's sort of like, it's set in these different kingdoms, right? The only problem that I've encountered with this book so far is it does that thing where it switches back and forth between several different characters.
Oh,
right?
very Game of Thrones style.
Yeah, kind of Game of Thronesy. It's not necessarily per chapter. Sometimes it's like internally, like it'll just break and switch to someone else. So far, there's like 4 major people we're switching between. And I find one of them far more interesting than the other 3.
Oh,
So
no.
I'm like, it'll get to this part where this loth guy, and I'm like, I don't really
Not so much.
really care about him right now. Again, that might be because his part of the story is just sort of like still very much developed. He's still like traveling to where he's just now got to where he's been trying to go, right?
Oh,
so like
it's been a bit boring.
Yeah, all I've gotten for him is his backstory, why he's there, why he was sent on this mission, right, with this other guy, all that stuff. You're like, whatever. And then this other lady, she was like training to become a dragon rider, which does sound cool, but her story has not progressed very far either. So you're like, okay, that's gonna be neat, probably. But right now, it's been a lot of like waiting around to see if she made it. There's another guy, and his was just like reminiscing about the past, whatever. The other lady's where all the action is, right? She's in like the queen's court, and she's like there to protect the queen, but she's like undercover and like all stuff. And like, you're like, yo, she's the most interesting one. Why can't we have more of her? I just want more of this girl.
Sure.
Stop it.
How about we just stay on this one? Okay.
Yeah, and that's where all the action's happening, really, because that's where all the action is currently. Not to just give away too much of the book in case anyone wants to read Priory of the Orange Tree, which you definitely should. But like, that's where the action currently is happening. All the good stuff is happening with Eid. I guess that's how you say her name. It's written EAD, so I've been going with Eid. Sure, because there's one thing that fantasy novels also make you do is go, huh? What's her name? How do you say that, I wonder? So
it's one of those names where you go, oh, I hope I never have to say this name out loud.
Yeah, and I just did. Fail. So yeah, so it's a big old thing, but it's pretty like easy to read, right? It's like written very well and it's like really good and stuff. But like, I haven't been reading it because I've been reading this Egypt book because I just want to get through it first.
Cool.
And still playing Assassin's Creed Origins, which is why I'm, it's in Egypt. I'm reading about Egypt. So it's doing the theme there. Every once in a while, I read a little bit of this one to keep up on it because I want to know more about what Eid's doing because she's the most interesting one so far. She does all the cool stuff. Like the other ones are like, okay, that'd probably be cool later, and they're probably gonna meet somehow. Sure. But like right now, I just want to know what she's doing.
Eventually, this is totally gonna pay off. Right?
Well, yeah, because you're like, they've already planted some seeds where you're like, wait a minute, hold on, got it. Like this might be happening, or this is a thing that's going to come back later. So there's a way that some of these people are going to meet eventually, probably, which will be good. But right now, I'm like, I just want her because she's she's the interesting one. So that's
okay.
Yeah. That just makes it hard because I did that same thing in Game of Thrones where I'd get to a character and be like, Sansa.
That I was just about to say. I was like reading like a Tyrion chapter and then like, oh man, that was epic. Ugh, Sansa. Do I have to read this?
Well, and also, one of my favorite characters to follow in the Game of Thrones books is Arya because she is doing just the weirdest stuff. And you're like, oh, here's Bran. You're like, no, Bran.
Oh, someone's carrying him again. Oh man,
yeah, Hodor's carrying him. They're in the tower basement. It's raining again. Like, meh. Like, they're still going north. Got it.
Still going.
Like, I really just want to read about Jon, Daenerys, and Arya. That's it. That's all I want. Tyrion, I guess.
They can't all be winners.
I know. But then sometimes in game, you get some exciting, like the chapters. Like, I didn't ever want to read about friggin' Jaime Lannister ever until he took that big trip with Brienne of Tarth. And I was like, no, I want to read about only this right now.
Okay, fine.
What else are they doing? Please tell me more.
Yeah, that was a good part. I like the whole thing. They'd be like, I mean, that's good because it makes you want to read more. But again, you get to some of those chapters like Sansa. what?
Yeah, I might have skipped
No.
a chapter or two at first because I was like so into it, and I was like, ugh, inner monologue of Sansa complaining the whole time. I get it.
Also, like she was just stuck with all the really not cool people, like Littlefinger. Like, why? So boring. And then there was just like no Arya chapters, like forever. But I want Arya. Come back.
So it sounds
And
like
then one of those whole books, there's no Tyrion because it's only in the other one. And you're like, no. What are you talking about? There's zero Tyrion in this giant 700-page book. How? How did you do that? I understand you have 14 characters you're going to try to keep me up with here, George, but come on. I want Tyrion. Or it's definitely not. Also, I don't like the chapters with Aaron's favorite dude in there either. He annoys me.
Who's my favorite dude?
Who's your favorite dude?
Oh, what's his name? I lost it. With the red woman and all the nonsense.
Red woman. Oh, the one true king. Duh.
Yeah, what's
Stannis.
his name?
Yeah.
Stan. I don't like Stannis.
Well, we always made a joke with my friends every time we would read a chapter. It was because throughout the books, it was like someone would say something, and then Stannis' response would be grinds teeth. I'm like, yes, my boy. Yeah, he has such a great character arc. It's like Stannis Baratheon stood coldly in a corner with his arms behind his back, grinding his teeth, and I was like, attaboy, that's
the one true
right
king,
there.
Stannis Baratheon.
Yeah.
For the night is dark and full of terrors.
I even have his flag in my bedroom, hanging proudly, with the stag and the heart and the flames. Yes.
I'm actually wearing my Game of Thrones pajama pants right now, so I have that on my. But that's why,
like, true fans. My goodness.
Colin, don't you know that the night is dark and full of terror?
It is known.
Damn. No.
It is known. I say that all the time.
It is known.
That is the weird level that I'm at because Susan knows. She'll be like, "You know nothing, John." I'm like, "Hey now, stop it." I also say, what do I say? I don't remember. There's another quote from the book I say a lot too, but I don't forgot what it was right now. But yeah, reading Fancy Thing About Dragons coming back. You know,
those are some pretty heavy books.
Weird.
One of them is physically heavy, and one of them is just like
strange inquiry. But do you remember the movie Dungeons and Dragons that totally had Timothy Irons in it?
Timothy Irons in that movie?
Yeah.
Was one of the Wayans brothers in that movie too?
Yes, he was like a weird, like elf dude.
Yeah.
You said dragons, and the first thought was Rain of Fire.
Rain of Fire.
Not Brave. Dragonheart.
Dragonheart, definitely.
Dungeons and Dragons. I was like, that movie sucked, but I enjoyed it.
The movie was not good. That's definitely true. I have been watching a Dungeons and Dragons playthrough on YouTube as well. I've been doing that.
Yeah.
Which one?
Been playing that. They're playing the Waterdeep Dragon Heist from 5e. They're playing that. So it's this guy that I watch his Let's Play sometimes. Just again, it's like noise to have in the background.
Sure.
So it's just normally like some weird video game stuff or whatever. But like I will have that on when I'm playing the parts of Assassin's Creed where I have to go and like just kill fort captains over and over again, or like go find a treasure in a lake. I'm just running around doing like errands. I'll put that on. But him and a bunch of his friends are playing that, so I've been watching that too. It's been pretty funny. I just love all the random stuff that happens in those. We're like, I'm gonna do this, and the DM's like, okay.
Did you not?
Because I remember that because when I used to play in high school, and that's how it always happened. Like, what if I do this? And they'd just be like, No.
Yeah.
But what if? Fine, roll. I've been watching that too on my time off. Whenever he puts them out. So that's been exciting. Probably need to watch some more movies. But I've been sitting around all day doing the reading.
Tiger King.
No,
It's not a no.
Yes.
No, Aaron. Enough. Brandon, we need to really see the progression of Aaron's mullet over the next couple of weeks. Aaron's in a photo of himself right now. Aaron.
Oh no, that's the only character I'm just like, ugh. But everything else, like, there's like one person on here that's like, that guy. He actually makes the sense.
Hey, I just keep seeing more and more memes, and I'm like, what the heck is going on?
I know.
Yes,
We're gonna have to start doing this in video to monitor Aaron, so we can make sure that he starts showing up with a like weird vest and a mullet. We can pull the plug.
It'll be fine.
Just watch one episode, you'll be captivated like everyone else.
I'm good.
So
far, my streak of not watching extremely popular things is basically 100%. So I'm gonna go ahead and continue to bat for that with this.
Hey, that's my thing. Don't steal my thing. To this day, I have never seen Titanic. Very proud of this.
That's a good one.
Boom. Look at that.
I'm surprised Susan has allowed that in the house.
I mean, she watches it. I just don't watch it.
Oh,
because she likes that movie. Aaron, it's a beautiful picture that you just sent of the Baratheon flag. I love that.
Yeah. I know.
Spread the wealth and the knowledge of.
There you go. I like it.
Yeah. What else have I been watching?
Or those dumb chapters with Theon. Get out of here, Theon Greyjoy.
Ugh. I hate those.
I too. Ugh. For what is dead may never die. Shut up, Theon.
Oh, you haven't seen the actual TV series when it ended.
No.
So okay.
I didn't watch that because I want the George ending. That's what I want. I don't want the television ending. I don't want the television interpretation of what George wanted or what they just decided to end the show as. I want the George experience. So I'm waiting for that. I stopped watching after season 3. I looked. That's what I watched. I watched season 3 and was like, nope, I'm done. Because that's basically when they caught up with where the books were at almost. So it's like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm done now. They weren't quite there with everybody, but I was like, nope. I'm only watching to here. Because I want to read Winds of Winter. Dang it. Yeah. That's what I want. At this point, I'm going to be like, what was going on? I don't remember. I don't really want to reread these books either because they're kind of enormous, and I'm not really doing anything else currently. But like, I don't really want to do that.
Nah, I thought about picking them up again, but I started reading this book, and then I have a little pile of books that I've just kind of been picked up here or there, read a few pages, and then stopped. But I was like, Game of Thrones, it's so exhausting and taxing right now.
Yeah, but so good though.
They are really good.
But again, yeah, I have a big pile.
Yeah, my pile is increasing.
But some of them, I'm like,
bigger.
I don't really want to read.
Move them down the pile.
Huh?
Move them down the pile.
Yeah, a little bit. I keep buying more. There's a couple that I really want to read. I'm just not in the mood for them currently. There's a couple that I can probably get through pretty fast, so I might read some of those.
Well, we'll keep checking in to keep you moving through them then.
Okay.
Okay, I'll know that. Okay. My note for next.
Been doing good on this Egypt one. Like, even it's very dense, but the like little subsections aren't too long. Mm-hmm. So you can read a couple pages and then be kind of done, right? And so they're like, if I just open it, like there's this little part. It's called Ramses the Third in the 20th Dynasty. It's not super long. It's only, 3 pages, and then we get to Ramses the Fourth, which is another page and a half. So you can kind of read it in sections, and kind of read a couple sections, put it down, digest what the heck you just read, right? Which is kind of what it's kind of what you have to do, right? You have to kind of read some, stop, process what on earth was going on, then continue a little bit later. I'm gonna try to find some more text to go with it that are a little. I've read a couple lighter versions, like I have it there at my bookshelf at school currently, which is not helpful, but just to try to get a more complete picture about what's going on. That way I can teach a little better. I'm reading some articles too. I've sent some to my kids. Like I sent them a thing about how Egyptians dressed on our Google Classroom thing, and like put some questions with it. They answered those. So it's been, kind of sending stuff here and there. Like, hey, check this out. Oh, hey, look at this. Da-da-da. So it's really professional development is really what it is. That's what's happening right now.
I gotcha.
Just code all your time. PRO, professional.
Yeah. Professional development. That video I watched today about pyramids, definitely professional development.
Totally.
Also, if you are going to watch a video about pyramids on YouTube, I invite you to look at the comment section.
Oh no, so I can't let that go. No, don't endorse that. Don't encourage people that. They don't
it's so awful.
How many rampant conspiracy theories were thrown around in there?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them. Don't you know that the pyramids were clearly built with power tools, obviously.
Oh my god.
Oh
no.
Yes.
Perfect.
It was great. It's like,
on that note, I will tell you that that Walmart will do home deliveries even if you have alcohol in the cart, so that may encourage you to continue to read some more of those comments.
They're just so bad. They're just so like, there's so many people that are just like, well, obviously it wasn't this. You're like, what do you mean obviously? Like literally no one knows how to do it. Because there's all this controversy about how you build a pyramid, right? Because nobody really knows. And like my favorite are the people that comment like, well, there's tons of sources that tell you. Like, tons?
Tons?
Really?
I'm intrigued.
Would you elaborate, please?
They never do.
No, there's just obviously tons. Like, well, I mean, and also there are sources that like mention pyramids or like things that were written by people that built pyramids, but it's like blank was here, right? Like carved on a stone inside the pyramid. Or Herodotus mentions something that someone told him about how you built a pyramid. But again, that was at least 2,000 years after they were built.
So speculation.
There's a little bit of time. So yeah, and Herodotus also taken with a grain of salt with a lot of things that he wrote down. A lot of us turned out to be mostly okay, but some of it's like, what we talking? Also, have you read any of the stuff about Alexander the Great recently?
No.
All right.
Band.
Okay. So, first of all, possibly found the tomb of Alexander.
Really?
Yes.
Well, because I know it was mobile, and all after factionally split up, everyone wanted to get their hands on it. So
yes. So apparently, there's been a person, this lady who I think is a lady who has been searching for it forever. She claimed to have found it in the 80s, right? But because of the whole like Macedonia Greek situation, right, where like Macedonia and Greece are fighting over the border, like the whole Northern Macedonia thing. It's a whole big geopolitical situation. They were like, "Hey, let's not do that," because he was Macedonian and all this stuff. So apparently, the original tomb is located out by Siwa, the oasis / oracle site.
okay.
West of the Nile there. So it's the C1 oasis in the desert. The allegedly body brought to Alexandria after that, right? Because it was moved around, like you said, it's mobile.
Yeah.
The theory that I read the other day that I thought was interesting is that the body that is currently in the tomb of St. Mark's Cathedral in Italy is actually Alexander the Great.
Oh.
Because they think that the Venetian people that found, they identified St. Mark, the body of St. Mark or whatever, was actually Alexander. The body that they found and claimed to be St. Mark was Alexander the Great. And so the theory that I read the other day was that the body in the tomb of St. Mark's Cathedral is actually Alexander the Great.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I
was like, whoa, wait, what?
And this was found in the 80s and just now back coming.
Well, the lady found the tomb, the original tomb, but they were like, they put a stop on her permit for digging.
Yeah.
And I think it's been coming to light recently. I think she's done some more digging, trying to confirm that the place in Siwa was the original tomb. And that's how they tracked it. Like, they think that he went from there to Alexandria, but the place where, like, the St. Mark, the body of St. Mark came through Egypt, right? To go to the cathedral. That's where they claim to find the body of St. Mark. And so they think that it's actually Alexander. It's been a few days since I read this, so I have to brush up on some details here. But
even re-popped back up. Interesting. Yeah. I did not hear about this.
Yeah, it's a very weird, right? Like they postulate that, oh, hey, that body right there in that saintly tomb could actually be Alexander the Great. So we'll see what's done with that information, if anything.
If anything pops up, that'd be very, very interesting.
But yeah, read up on that because they think they did. She's done a bunch of excavation over there at Siwa. I think it's in Siwa, and there's a lot of stuff in that tomb. There's some stuff on the walls that's like, yo. Basically, she was like, I'm almost certain that this has got to be the original tomb. This is right here. And so there's that. But the body could be the body of St. Mark in Venice. They think that is actually Alexander, which is mind-blowing, right? Like,
yeah. Wow, that'd be...
that would be crazy. I don't know how you corroborate this exactly, but it would be interesting if that actually came to be true.
That would be
I've been reading about that too, this little saga. There's not a lot going on with it right now, right? But I just showed up on my news thing, and I was like, wait, what? Excuse you? So yeah, Aaron, you might want to do a little reading about that.
I will.
We'll talk later about that because that's definitely like a super interesting development that I thought was like, wait, because that's been a big thing. Like he just sort of disappeared, right?
Yeah.
Like they knew where he was for a while, and then they were like, man, he's gone now. Because they wanted his body near them. They moved it around Egypt. The Ptolemies were moving it around, and it was in Alexandria for a while, and it just sort of disappeared.
Yeah.
Like it just sort of went away. They just like lost it, I guess. It's kind of what everyone said. But
because I watched the video about Alexander's tomb, and it was this massive like cart almost, and like they just paraded it around Egypt and was like, oh well, we're the actual ones, the true descendants. Look at us. Tomb. And yeah, that was why and where Alexander's body and tomb so important. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
found it. Yeah, that's so trippy. That's so cool if that actually DNA it and just be like,
yeah. I don't really know how you DNA that, but like, yeah, if the body in St. Mark's is actually Alexander, that would be a really crazy thing. So yeah.
So yeah,
To read up on
implications there.
If I could find the article that I read, I'll have to do it later.
Well, sounds like we all have some serious homework. But before our next call, work on how to build a pyramid, and then verify the body in St. Mark. Is St. Mark or not?
There we go.
Just solve that. I mean, what else are we doing?
Other Egyptian mysteries, readers, in case you're listeners, in case you are curious. The other great mystery of ancient Egypt is what the heck is Seth supposed to be anyway? Right? All the gods have very clearly identifiable animal heads on them, right? Like Osiris is a falcon, Horus is a falcon, right? Like Thoth is an ibis, Sobek is a crocodile, Anubis is a jackal, Seth is a question mark. Thing. Right? Like it's one of those things that's like really weird. Like Ra, clearly a falcon, also like Osiris has his very own like, he's got his own thing going. He doesn't really have an animal associated with him. Now I think about it. Isis is the bird thing. But Seth is like this thing. And it's often just referred to as the Seth animal.
The animal.
Because nobody actually has a clear like of what in the world it is. And a lot of people are just like, oh, it's an amalgamation of several animals put together, which doesn't make any sense to me because none of the other gods do that. Zero of them. Right? Like they are all very clearly a thing. Right? Like Sekhmet is clearly like a lion. Right? Some of them like clearly an alligator or a crocodile or a hippo. And then there's like this one that's like, so
I always thought he was like a dog or something.
That's what they say. They say part dog. But like they don't, a lot of times it's just referred to as the Seth animal.
He's a dingo.
Not a dingo. No dingoes in Africa.
Sure.
But they say dog. Like it's always like part dog, part, but it can't be a jackal because there's already a jackal. And the jackal of Anubis looks way different. He's got this like weird like droopy nose thing. It's just like, what the heck? So some postulate that it could be a dog.
Kind of like they ran out of ideas.
Yeah. But it's like it's a what is it?
It is, yeah.
It's either, some people say that it could be an animal that actually is extinct. And so we don't know what it is.
Okay.
Could be.
So, very interesting. So I was thinking about that today. I was just looking at some stuff. So I was like, what the heck? What is this nonsense? What are you? It looks like to me, my interpretation of the drawings, his face looks like a giraffe. Right? But it doesn't make any sense that they would not add like
the other more resembling character, the other characteristics of giraffe.
Yeah, there's no like neck.
Right.
He does have these like big squared off things on top of his head, which kind of look like giraffe horns.
Which are very giraffe-y.
Right. And he's got, his face just looks really bizarre, which looks giraffe-y.
Mm-hmm.
But that's, I mean, none of the other gods or goddesses, it's just the head that is on there, right? Except for Thoth. He has a skinny neck because it's an ibis bird.
Mhm.
So, I mean, giraffe is one. Or camel is another one that I hear thrown around a lot, which makes sense because he's like the god of the desert. So you would, clearly camel is like the first thing that comes to your mind because he's the god associated with being out in the desert. So like literally, what else are you gonna think? Camel. Come on.
Camel.
That's what. But like, his face does look more giraffe. So, more things to think about. It's why you're sitting and pondering in the shower. Run through your list of northern African desert animals.
Well,
Has to be from northern Africa because all these other animals occur within Egypt, which is also a problem because giraffes do not. Right? Unless the some sort of ancient giraffe ancestor was living in northern Africa long ago that no longer exists because current giraffe ranges are not there. Northern African desert.
Yeah.
Right. That's not where they go. Even 200 years ago when giraffes weren't like severely endangered, not really in Egypt.
Mhm.
So that puts a small problem on my hypothesis because you would think it would have to be an animal that was familiar to Egyptians, especially Old Kingdom and before, because these gods sort of just appeared like fully formed in the Old Kingdom. So there has to be like we're talking like 2000 BC, right? So
Okay, so we've got
2500 BC.
Three big questions we can all spend this next week working on. I think that's a good some homework for everybody.
I'll try to watch some more. I'll try to watch something else. I don't know. See.
Okay. Well, we'll get this. I'll start taking notes and watching some 4.5 hour long YouTube conspiracy videos to get caught up.
Oh yeah, just watch. It literally could be anything about pyramids. It doesn't have to be a conspiracy video. Like the one I was watching was like, it was just a video about pyramids. It was it.
Yeah.
It was just like a normal. There was Egyptologists on there. There was people talking about how you can carve, like legitimate theories about how you can cut rock with bronze. Right. One big theory is, well, you have the big prevailing theory currently, a hypothesis. I should speak correctly. Hypothesis currently is that you have a big copper saw that is toothless, and you just put sand under it, and you just run it back and forth, and all the silica in the sand is hard enough that it will slowly abrade through the granite, and just cut it.
Makes sense.
You just have to put the sand in there, and just
they had an abundance of.
Yes, not a shortage of that. They had copper. Their copper alloys found in Egypt actually contain some arsenic and some other stuff to make it a harder copper alloy. So they had a natural advantage because the copper was slightly harder than like a pure copper.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you just put sand, like they've done it, people do it now. They're like, hey, look, I cut this block with this saw.
I did it.
Like, would it take a long time? Yeah. But like, what else were they doing? Right? Like, you have a couple thousand people sawing on granite blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's good.
Let's let her rip.
Let her rip. No, but clearly power tools, obviously.
Sounds, convince me otherwise.
The ramp theory is another one. You should watch videos about the ramp theories, how they got the blocks up there.
Yeah. I've seen some of those.
Some are actually really good and interesting. And they're like, no, it's impossible. Like, but don't say impossible. It's like the archery thing. Okay. The ongoing archery saga, which is still happening, by the way, in case you're curious.
I don't think it will never be solved.
He put out a response video the other day that I watched some of. It was like an hour and a half long.
Because it already is.
It's like, yo, what?
Oh, well, I'll add that to my watch list too, guys.
Great. Yes.
We'll compare notes next time.
Okay.
Well, I love you guys. You guys have a
Love
good
you too.
evening.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.